It's showtime. Countdown. Welcome to another edition of the Willie Bragg Show. I'm your host, Willie Bragg. Today, just before we get started, I'm going to do my usual spiel. So before we get started, hit that like button because it helps with the algorithms. I need to stress that it helps with the algorithms. Be sure to comment when the video is done, and so we can have a conversation, good, bad, or indifferent. Also, most importantly, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. So here on YouTube, so I can increase my subscriber count. I'm going to try to make it to 1,000 this year, so you can help make that happen. Twitch, subscribe, follow me on Twitch. Let's see, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Facebook, and a quick announcement before we get started on everything. On Tuesday at noon, former UN weapons inspector Scott Ritter will be guest on the Willie Bragg Show. I'll repeat, former UN weapons inspector Scott Ritter will be guest on the Willie Bragg Show. So that's, and I'll be co-hosting in a panel with two other people, and we'll go ahead and talk about war and peace and his perspective, and why people should listen to what he's got to say, because after all, probably 1 million Iraqis will still be alive, and tens of thousands of American troops will either be alive or not have missing limbs, and we probably would not be trillions of dollars in debt. The trillions that we spend in Iraq, that probably wouldn't have happened. So a little bit of food for thought there. So let's start with our first story, and let's start with the story, and that is Ron DeSantis. And why do I call him America's 21st century? So 21st century fascism. Well, it's because every time I hear of Governor Ron DeSantis on the news, in spite of what many conservatives and people of the right says about him and his governing of Florida, saying, "Oh, well, Florida's where all the freedom is at." Freedom, my asshole. Honestly, freedom, my asshole. There's, no. Every time I hear something coming out of Florida with regard to Ron DeSantis is how he could take away people's freedoms. There is no freedom associated with the man, Ron DeSantis, other than the fact that he wants to take away freedoms from people. He's a wannabe dictator. And the latest I'm hearing from Ron DeSantis, he wants to assault the First Amendment even more than he's already assaulted it. I mean, he's already come up with the anti-riot laws. They're selective. At best, it's selective, like, Cuban Americans who are critical of the Cuban government can block roads, and cops be like, they're there now. But, oh boy, if Black Lives Matter or Antifa block the roads, and some right-wing person who really doesn't like Black Lives Matter or does not like Antifa can use the excuse, well, I feel threatened. Take the car and just start running over people from Black Lives Matter and Antifa. They could technically get away with it. That's how the law is in Florida. The Don't Say Gay bill, which exclusively try to demonize everyone from the LGBTQ community without even any pretense of, well, we're only trying to go and root out the bad apples. No, they're trying to go and say anybody who's LGBTQ is a pedophile, and that's basically what it is. It's an attack on the LGBTQ community, on something that's not even a problem anyway. And I mean, and whatever is a problem within the LGBTQ community in regard to children, that is also a problem in the heterosexual community, and it's just as wrong, whichever orientation is doing it. Let's see what else. Asking or I don't know if it's the law yet in Florida, but he was trying to have it so where university professors within the state University of Florida system will have to register their political ideology with the state of Florida. Banning of books in Florida. We're talking about censorship on overdrive. We're talking about things like of that nature. A curriculum in school. In other words, Antifa bad, but we're going to have ideology, a curriculum on denouncing communism. Whatever you may think of communism. I mean, the point I'm trying to make is you're going to have an ideology that denounces communism, but oh boy, don't. Anti-fascism is something negative. This is the governor of Florida. This is the governor of Florida, the fascist governor of Florida. And I do not thread my words. I do not thread my words lightly when it comes to Ron DeSantis. He is a despicable human being. On top of that, he's also guilty of trafficking human beings. What he did with immigrants from, I believe, from Venezuela mostly. I think there was some from Mexico and what have you. Putting them in a bus, taking them up to Massachusetts to Martha's Vineyard. In the name of a culture war gotcha over there at Martha's Vineyard, and lying to the people by saying, we got jobs, we got everything you need over there. Basically, he's trying to go and do this performative action, and then everything he does is done in the name of taking away people's rights. I'm talking about people that he politically disagrees with. Like, for example, do I think that Disney World should be a municipality on its own? No, not particularly. But the reason he stripped them of their municipality was revenge politics. They disagreed with his, the Don't Say Gay bill. He was like, well, how dare you go and defy me, the governor of Florida? You dare defy me. You dare defy me. And so it's revenge politics. It's revenge politics. So anyway, here's a story for Harlan's Media about what happens to people who live in Florida who are critical of Ron DeSantis, and it sounds like people who work in media, but it sounds like it could go after independent media. We're talking about people as kind of well known down in Florida. We're talking about James Fauntleroy of RBN, friends here in the independent media. Or we're talking about Jim Perlman, or we're talking about what's his name? The one in the northern part of the state. I cannot think of his name. Gosh, he's kind of a normie with the Young Turks, and I cannot think of a bald guy. Cannot think of his name. He's kind of has a dry wit about him. What is his name? Farron Cousins. who's a pretty loud critic of Ron DeSantis. If there are any other folks, I can't think of anybody else offhand right now, but that comes up. Oh, Nico House. All these folks within the online left that's down in Florida, who are critical of Ron DeSantis. Well, there could be consequences if you dare defy this man. So let me go back to where the story is right here. Hold on a second. Let me find the story and we'll get started.
There we go.
Here he is.
I'll take that. So so we have a bit of a show today for you guys. We have a lot of stories. We're talking about Florida. Now, ironically, I just learned that as soon as we went live, we were limited because of the title talking about Florida, which I think there can be no greater introduction
right?
to the first story of the day than that. So first, I want to say hi to everyone watching. Hey to everyone on YouTube, everyone on Rockfin, everyone on Odyssey, everyone everywhere else that we are streaming. I'll keep that introduction short. Let's just jump right into it. FaZe, can you pull up? And I'm able to wrangle FaZe. Kit can't even do that. Can we pull up that first story with the Florida governor from our good old friends at Peacock? Okay, so once we get that set up, it's effectively, Florida is just kind of becoming Florida. I don't know if it's become a garbage fire, if we can say it's become a garbage fire, because that would infer that it's been reasonable.
Yeah, that would infer that there was a time where it was not a garbage fire.
Yeah. So we have a story. So when it gets up, it'll get brought up. But the Florida governor, DeSantis, is passing or wants a bill passed where you have to submit your papers to the government to make sure that you are saying very nice things about the governor. And if you are not saying good things about the governor, you will be severely punished with a fine, and you'll be put on a list. And he will check that list at least twice.
And if anybody else wants to use your work and your blogs, they must also submit it to the governor and pay a fine if they do not.
That's right. Apparently, this doesn't include newspapers for whatever reason, which I kind of thought was really funny. I guess it goes to show that people like us really are making a difference. If the Florida governor's like the real people we have to worry about are those truth tellers in the blogs.
I actually agree with what Daniel said there, and it's like this. Independent media within the online left is making the same kind of difference. Hopefully, in the way that right-wing talk radio made in the 1990s and early 2000s, and so I think that maybe the right wing actually is feeling the heat in that regard. Just one of the few things I do feel optimistic about today, even though some gatekeepers are not doing enough to be the gatekeepers, because some of the more mainstream ones have been bought out. That doesn't apply to Harlan's Media. They're great. They're great people, but I'll let them continue.
I already own the newspapers. So
they do. Like Murdoch is like, Murdoch funds him. Like, he's tight with.
It'd be really funny if this was just a big smoke screen to like knock out competition. So let's pull up a little bit of that article. So the Florida state senator introduced a bill that, if passed, would require bloggers to write. It's not, hey, if you talk about Florida, you have to put yourself on a list. It's not, hey, if you write about the Democrats, you get put on a list. It's, if you talk about the executive branch, you have to be on a list. And you have to tell everyone where your money comes from. Man, I wish that, we could do that about NBC, but they literally are like race cars. It's on their sleeve. It's on their commercial. So where do we have it? So it's the video is called Information Dissemination, which is great. That's very 1984. If a blogger posts a blog about an elected state officer and receives or will receive compensation for that post, the blogger must register. By the way, like, one thing I'll say before we really get into this is, even if they pass this will be challenged and thrown out in the courts faster than a Florida man can give meth to an alligator.
That's pretty fast, dude.
I mean, you've seen those things move. You know that alligators run a little like dogs?
Yeah.
Yeah, very cute. Very.
They are cute, except for when they're climbing up fences and stuff, which I did used to have nightmares about.
It's amazing. The cuteness is inverse to the proximity to oneself.
It really is. As long as it's on just like a video, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is adorable.
I'm going to interrupt for a second. I normally take care of chats at the end of the stream, but I have to interrupt because I need to talk to one person over here, and that is Manza Wes. For some reason, I bet you better read that bill. Let's see, where do we go from here? And he also said, read the bill before you start jumping conclusions, not just read some opinionated news article. And I saw you last night on my stream, Mr. or Ms. Manza Wes. I don't want to make any assumptions. I saw you making some very silly comments last night. And this is what I am going to say. I get tired of people with your mentality assuming what I assume about your ideology. I get very tired of people like yourself saying that people like myself are uninformed when all you people have ever done was make uninformed opinions about people on the left and make uninformed opinions about policy. And they intellectual, lazy, partisan, Rush Limbaugh 1993 talking points, which is 30 years old and diarrhea at this point. It was diarrhea then. So anyway, let me go ahead and get started and continue here.
Adorable. As soon as I'm like there and an alligator is running anywhere in my vicinity, I'm like, nah, I'm out.
That's right. So if you don't register, you're going to be faced with a $25 a day fine, and the penalty will be capped at $2,500 per posting. For all those blogs, it's just this: the fact that this exists, the fact that this is being passed, the fact that this is going on is just another piece of commentary about how bloggers and people that aren't real news are actually accurate and truthful and a threat to the establishment. Because if he was, I don't know, like any other news outlet that's clearly not a threat, this is their way of trying to control people. This is their way of trying to put fear into people. But it's also classic Florida, stupid. Even if it passes, nothing will happen. Whoever gets arrested or put in fines for that, which we're not even going to get to that point, will very immediately have like the ACLU or someone ride to their defense and then make a lot of money. So,
and I agree with that. I think it will get thrown out of court. It will get thrown out of court. One thing I will say about the courts, I don't have a lot of faith in the courts, the way it swings in a lot of issues. But the one area where I do think that maybe liberals and conservatives are kind of positive on in the courts, even today, they seem to err on the side of free speech. Probably not as much as I would like for them to do so, but better considering what societal attitudes tend to be in our political culture, which is a powder keg, is right now. I would say that the courts, in my opinion, in spite of everything, are not as terrible as I would imagine them to be. They can still be better. So there is that. I will say this: if the state of Florida tries implementing this law and like executing this law, my suggestion for the people in Florida who are critical of Governor DeSantis, and look, if there was let's say, I wouldn't. Okay. I think Jen Perlman is a great lady to listen to. But let's say she ran for governor and she became as authoritarian as Ron DeSantis, but for the left. And I'm not trying to insult Jen Perlman saying this, but let's say, just for instance, I would be just as opposed if she tried to put a law that would punish conservatives who are critical of her. That's basically what I'm saying. And again, I feel bad using her as an example of a left person in the executive in Florida, because I know she's a free speech advocate. She has a good position on First Amendment rights, but I mentioned her because, yeah. Anyway, just trying to make a point. My suggestion for the people in Florida who are critical of Ron DeSantis, if it somehow does not get tossed out in the courts, is to basically state where the blog is located. If you can do it, find a loophole and have it so that the blog is located in another state, or have it registered in another state where they can't legally touch you. Go and do it that way. Do everything you can to undermine that son of a bitch in Florida, in Tallahassee, the Tallahassee fascist, Ron DeSantis. Do everything you can. Do everything you can. Because this man is dangerous. This man, Ron DeSantis, he is Mussolini. This man is Francisco Franco. This man is Antonio Salazar. This man is Augusto Pinochet. And this man is the recent president of Brazil, Jair Bolsonaro. This is what that prick in Florida is. Do everything you can to give him a political ulcer. Really, honestly. Make his gubernatorialship as miserable as possible. That's what I have to say. That's what I have to say. So let me continue here.
I really, as a summary for this topic, I'm just going to say I want to congratulate, if this does pass, to the blogger who's about to make $1 million.
I know, right? Let's pack up and spend some time in Florida for a little bit and do some do some reporting from Florida.
It'd be perfect. This would be a perfect time for a NordVPN commercial. Do you want to get some of that blogger money that people are going to get without going to Florida?
Put your location to Florida.
Is that an idea?
Let's say something mean about DeSantis.
Yeah, and by the way, I don't use Nord. I use another program, but you know how much we're paying for Crunchyroll for everyone's account?
No.
$2 a month. I bought it in India.
Nice.
You guys watching have no idea what we're talking about. That was a bit of a thing. I just thought I'd give you guys some actual useful information in this segment.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good. I like.
All right. So there you have an example of DeSantis's fascism at work right there. And as I said, he's one of the worst people around. I mean, he's much worse than someone like Minority Leader Mitch McConnell at the moment. He's a minority leader. I mean, Mitch McConnell is bad. I mean, he's horrible because when Donald Trump became president, he campaigned as an anti-establishment person, but he put Mitch McConnell in charge of the economy. So everything was basically Bush-Cheney redux all over again. George Herbert Walker Bush redux all over again. It was Ronald Reagan redux all over again. But Ron DeSantis, it would be that, but it would be that with the horrible fascism of people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and people that I know the Marjorie Taylor Greene's pro-Trump, but but here's the thing about what's his name, Ron DeSantis. When you had people like Matt Walsh jumping on board the first chance he could get to go and politically sucks on Ron DeSantis's cock, that tells you everything you need to know about Ron DeSantis. So it's, as I said, I mean, I despise people like Dan Crenshaw, eye patch man, basically. And what is Dan Crenshaw of Texas? Basically Ben Shapiro with an eye patch. I despise him. Okay. And what's his name in Kentucky? Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell. I don't have a personality other than just to work on behalf of Republicans and big business. Do the will of what is trending for the Republican Party at the moment. That's Mitch McConnell in a nutshell. So I just 2007. I accidentally did an expression of Mitch McConnell, and I just kind of perfected it at that point. But as I said, this guy Ron DeSantis, I mean, he's fucking bad news. I mean, he's. I say this, and people get the wrong impression when I say that certain people are worse than Trump. There are people who are worse than Trump. I'm sorry. I mean, he's Trump without the comedy show. He's George W. Bush with that's slightly more intelligent. And I want y'all to do me a favor. When you hashtag Ron DeSantis, I mean, when you talk about Ron DeSantis online, put a hashtag, call him hashtag RonDeGroomer. I want that SOB discredited. I want him discredited. The guy who declared war on the LGBTQ community, got married in Disney World. This guy, and then he's going around, as a teacher, drinking beer with a bunch of teenage girls. Now, I personally think the drinking age should be 18 across the board. I always thought it was dumb to raise the drinking age to 21. But hey, and I was angry in 1986. I was turning 17 when they did that law. And so I wasn't able to start drinking legally in 1987 when I turned 18. I'm now 54 today. I still resent that law from back then. Weirdly enough, gosh, I can't believe I'm 54 years old today, and I can't believe that I'm remembering my teenage years like it was yesterday. But anyhow, Ron DeSantis was drinking with some underage girls, and 16, 17-year-old girls from high school. Again, I would normally not give a flip, but the thing about it is that if he's going to go around and call all his political opponents groomers and everything, you know what? The Young Turks can sit there and laugh at the story when Donald Trump called him that and say, just say, oh, well, they don't think that he's a groomer. They're an idiot, because Ron DeSantis could very well get the nomination. I don't put it past that prospect happening. We're talking about a flabby old man who's rushing toward 80. Talking about Donald Trump, a man who spends 2 or 3 hours every morning spray painting his face orange and having a hairstylist doing the infamous comb over before he shows his face in public. A man who sits there, eat McDonald's hamburgers and do not exercise. He ain't going to live forever, folks. He ain't going to live forever. And thing about it is, there's a lot of Republicans out there that want something normie out there. I mean, they may not want to go back to Bush-Cheney. They want Bush-Cheney policies, but they don't want Bush-Cheney. But they want a firebrand like Trump, but they don't want somebody rude and clownish like that. And I think that Ron DeSantis sort of hits the sweet spot for them, and that makes him more dangerous. Because he's basically he lacks the comedy show of Trump, and he's smarter than George W. Bush. He's smarter, so he's more competent. And you got Ben Shapiro, and you got Matt Walsh, and you got Glenn Beck, and I think Mark Levin and people like that getting all hard for Ron DeSantis. That tells you everything you need to know how horrible it is. And if Ron DeSantis becomes president, you're going to get George W. Bush, Dick Cheney years combined with Chile, 1973 to 1990. But instead of clerical fascism of in Latin America, you're going to get 700 Club Republicans and John Hagee, Bible beaters that's going to go and shove Christian nationalism down your throat. And they're going to go and impose Christian Sharia, and they're going to go and have a neoconservative foreign policy and find a way to do some of the uglier side of paleoconservatism domestically. It's going to be the worst of all worlds if Ron DeSantis becomes president. And whenever any conservative or right-leaning person says Ron DeSantis is for freedom and he's all about liberty, you cut them down to size right there. You let them know. You let them know how full of shit they are. You let them know how full of shit they are. Ron DeSantis is unfit. He's unfit to be governor. He's also unfit to be president. So I just kind of wanted to let everybody know. So, okay. So we have here on the chat line, Extra Booyah. Warren, hey, how are you doing today? All right. Let's see here. Staten Island canceled its St. Patty's Day parade because they're biggest against the LGBTQ plus community. Yeah, I remember they did that years ago. Are they still doing that? Oh my gosh, they need to get with the times if they're still doing that crap. Good Lord. And Big Silver Orb said, "Hey, how are you doing today?" I'm doing good. Won't get much pushback from me today. Oh, don't let our differences over the issue in Russia and Ukraine. Don't let that bother us. I mean, I think in good faith, you don't want what I think some people want on the bad side of the situation. And I hope you don't think that I'm some kind of Putin apologist. I really am not. So, but and I'm not. So I'm not going to worry when people call me that now, because I'm not. I know what I am, which is weird because when I went to church this morning, the stations, they had the new stations, and my priest is telling me that the wood carvings actually came from some place in the Ukraine that they put up. So that was interesting. So anyhow, I talked to this one guy already. So, all right, let's see here. Let's see. Blogger registrations, just like North Korea. Yeah, I mean, he's a dictator. DeSantis is really bad news. Really, you're arguing with a Russian bot. Well, I was arguing with some Hillary bots the other day on Twitter. It was really obnoxious. It felt like 2015, 2016 all over again. Let's see. I am not a Russian bot. Well, no, maybe not a Russian bot, something. Let's see. Just a regular bot. That's a good one. Let's see here. The only good thing about global warming is the sinking of Florida. Wow. Yeah. Actually, global warming sucks, but there are probably parts of the world where the global warming is going to be beneficial for certain areas of the world. But that doesn't mean that global warming is a positive thing overall. Let's see. When McConnell looks next to you. Oof. Yeah, McConnell's bad news. Let's see. Perfect impression. Yep. And yeah. Oh, 52. Yep. I'm 54 today. As of 4:16 this afternoon. A little while ago. Let's see. The term normie does more harm than good. Well, I mean, I just meant, people who are mainstream in worldviews and all that. We built both your microphone and your camera. And let's see. Happy birthday, says Dirtbag Leftist. Hey, how are you doing today? Let's see here. It's just me. Let's see here. Oh, on DeSantis, we agree. Well, DeSantis is as I said, DeSantis is an SOB. He must not be allowed to be president. Let's see here. Happy birthday, Willie. Staten Island is going to be Staten Island. Yes, it is. Let's see. Yes, Hillary bots are bad too. And happy birthday. All right. Yep. And that's pretty much it right now. So if y'all like what you heard, please press like and comment. a comment anyway. If you disagree with what I have to say, we will have a conversation. Feel free to share the comment on this channel. As a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it, because we are, in fact, the muckrakers of our times. I can't stress that enough. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter. Also follow me on Facebook and Twitter. And I meant Twitch earlier too. Always get a second opinion, because you can't trust a damn thing that mainstream corporate media has to say. So there is that. And once again, be sure to come in here Tuesday afternoon at noon Eastern Standard Time, where I'll be interviewing Scott Ritter, so the former UN weapons inspector. So until next time, we shall talk again soon, folks. Take care. Bye-bye. Until next time.